co-host Joel, my co-host Ben, and special guest from the Buskard Group, Blake Timmer, our MLB insider. You guys all know Don, the ringer Don for our NBA and college basketball insider at the Buskard Group. Blake is another go-to guy at the Buskard Group real estate, and he is a baseball junkie. So he's going to be our insider. As you know, Ben is already a baseball junkie, so you guys are going to learn so much in this episode. To start this show off, we are going to rank the top 30 players in this 2022 MLB season as it kicks off very soon. I will have Ben do the first pick. I'll do the second. Blake will go 3, Ben to 4, and all the way to 30. And then from there, we'll give you more inside information on how these divisions will pan out. So, Ben, first overall pick in the 2022 MLB draft, fantasy draft, whatever. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take Juan Soto, number 1. I think last year we probably had Trout there. Only reason I wouldn't put Trout at number 1. The only reason I had him drop a little bit is just because of his injury problems the last few years. And I just hate watching the Angels play. So it's just redundant at this point. I don't know. Juan Soto's worst year was his rookie year, and he hit 292. He's continued to just produce on some pretty subpar teams at times. And, still obviously young. He's a superstar. He's, 23 still. So I think he's kind of the next, superstar. Not, I wouldn't say the next superstar. Already he's a superstar. But I think he kind of flies under the radar at times when they talk about best player in the MLB. But his production matches right up there with everybody else. So I'm going to put him number 1.
All right.
He's due for even a bigger breakout too. So
I keep putting him down for NL MVP, and then he always just lets me down. So it's
no spoiler alert.
Yeah. Number 2, I am going to go with Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah.
And I think after the healthy year that he played, I think he played 161 games last year just with one rest day. And he bashed 48 home runs, 111 RBIs, and he hit 311. So that's in some years, that's almost Triple Crown territory in some years. I just think now he's settled in as a premier player. His first 2 years were kind of getting his feet underneath him. I think he is there now, and I think he's there to stay for the next 8 to 10 years. So I'll have him here, number 2.
Sweet.
All right. So, number 3, I got to put Mike Trout in the top 3. You still got to have him up there. I know he didn't play a full season last year, but he still hit the heck out of the ball when he was playing. So, he hit well over 300 just last year, and he's obviously a career guy. Definitely big numbers and steal, play outfield. He's the whole package. He's maybe not Ohtani, but I hope to see good things for the Angels. So,
yeah, I agree. Number 4, I'm going to go with Mookie Betts here. Arguably, he and Trout might be the 2 most complete, at least from a non-pitcher players in the MLB. Power, speed, can play defense, hit for average. When you talk about a 5-tool player, that's Mookie Betts is the guy you put there in the dictionary. 9 seasons now, so he's getting up there. He's about 150 stolen bases, close to 600 RBIs, close to 200 home runs. Batting average at 296 in his career. He's getting better, if we're being honest. He's just getting more consistent. So as long as he's remaining healthy, I think he deserves to be in the top 5. Just complete player, fun to watch, electric, makes things happen on the field. One of the faces of baseball, in my opinion, should still be. So again, doesn't necessarily always get the credit, I think, sometimes for what he does, but just complete player, just super complete player.
Man, I'm going between 2 people here at 5, but I'm going to go with Freddie Freeman now that he's with the Dodgers.
Okay.
Going into his 13th year now. So he's he's racking up the years. He's 32 years old. But just last year he hit 300 still. 83 RBI, so he's a little short on that. 31 home runs is kind of where he's probably poised to finish again. Except with more RBIs, I think, with this Dodgers offense. And not totally discounting the Braves offense, but the Dodgers have a superstar racked lineup, and I think having a Freeman in there is just going to allow him a lot of opportunities to drive in runs. So I still expect somewhere around the 290 to 305 range for a batting average, and I think he's going to break over 100 RBIs this year. And I think that 30 home runs is not to be unexpected. So I'll put him here at number 5.
I mean, last year he had an incredible year. He's getting better as he's getting older right now. And I think he still has good 3-4 years of great play left. So he's going to be protected in that lineup even more so than he was in Atlanta. So, yeah.
And we all saw what he did in the playoffs, kind of snapping out of – he was struggling there for a little while, and then he just broke out in a big way.
Yeah.
So I've got number 6, and I've got to put Shohei on there. There's no one else like him. We haven't seen anybody like him in a long, long time. So I think you got to put him on there. He's just a freak. He does it all, and he can hit, he can pitch, and he plays with all the best of them. So that'll be a good one to watch again and see how he does.
What do you guys think because a lot of people would put him honestly number 1 just because of the value he brings to a team. I don't see him as number 1. I
think he's going to take a little bit of a step back this year, to be completely honest.
And really last year was the only time he's even remotely came close to being healthy, right? And it's just like, how long can you really do what he's doing? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I think you
remember when I snuck him on our list last year at number 30?
Yeah, at number 30, you put him right on the list.
And people were like, why?
I was like, because you hadn't seen it, but the stuff's there on the mound, obviously, and the hitting. He finally started to hit a little bit for average, and then obviously the power is always going to be there for him. So,
he's definitely. It's fun to see like a guy that we haven't seen since, and nobody's been really alive for Babe Ruth. So, it's kind of cool to see this. So, I don't know. Ohtani's got. I think he's still going to have a really great year. I think it's going to be, a couple home runs back, a couple RBIs back. I think his ERA is going to be a little bit higher, but. I think they did a little bit to that lineup this year to kind of help give him some more dubs too on the mound. So there'll be opportunities for sure.
Yep.
Number 7, Ben.
There's a couple different options here. All right. I'm actually going to go with Jose Ramirez. Just got a big extension yesterday. I think he's the best third baseman in baseball, but I also think he's underappreciated. For what he brings, first of all, defensively, and second of all, if you look back at his past healthy years, he's been hitting close to 300 or over 300 multiple times, drives in runs, does not strike out, walks a ton. Last year was a crazy year. He hit 287, 125 RBIs, 42 home runs, 77 walks, only struck out 99 times. He steals bases. He's had 30 stolen bases last year. Just does everything for a team that literally that offense has zero protection for him. That lineup is terrible. And he does everything for that team. He's extremely fun to watch. One of my favorite players to watch. So I think he deserves to be right here, in the top 10 firmly. I think he's the best third baseman in baseball right now. There's a lot of really good third basemen, but just from a pure value standpoint, I would put him at number 1 on third baseman.
Are they just rumors floating around? But I saw that maybe the Guardians are shopping him.
Well, they just re-signed him to a 5-year deal yesterday. So
okay, so I saw the rumors 2 days ago. So
they're no longer shopping. Yeah, there was thoughts because they took so long to re-sign him. They're like they might. Well, the thought was if they were in contention, they'd try to, hang on to him. But if they weren't, because they're such a weird team. Like their pitching could probably keep him in it. He could keep him in it, but I wouldn't be surprised also if they're well below 500 at the All-Star break too. So they just re-signed him. So obviously they want to build around him and he wants to be there. So that's the biggest deal that the Cleveland franchise has given any player ever. It's over 100 million. So
that's how you break in the new nickname for sure.
Yeah.
Man, number 8. I'm gonna go with Trey Turner, shortstop, second baseman for the Dodgers.
I like Trey.
One of the faster players in the league. Obviously, he's continually at the top in stolen bases. I think he's been down a little bit in the last couple of years. But now he's also kind of steadied out at a power level. Used to just be a contact hitter that would hit well over 300 for you, and now he's if you can hit 18 to 21 home runs in a year too, you take that. And I think he's an incredible athlete and fielder too. So the versatility at shortstop, second base, I think is going to do wonders for the Dodgers, because I think that with getting Freddie Freeman now, they're going to have to move some players around in that infield. So, I'll go with Turner at 8.
All right. Well, 9, I think I got to go with Bryce Harper. As much as I don't love him on the field, I think he's got the power. He drives in the runs. Definitely is a show to watch. But he's just an amazing. He keeps on doing it. His average has gone up now. I think he's finally settled down after all the hype of the Bryce Harper, this, that, and all the rest. So I think we'll see big things from him this year again.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could very easily be the best player in baseball still. I mean, any given year, the talent's there. So
yeah, he's just been on it. It's like some years or some weeks he goes like there's a giant hole in his bat or something. But as far as I'm concerned, he's still got one of the best swings.
Any of these guys in the top 10 you could see having a year that makes them the best player in baseball for that season, which is crazy. I mean, there's a lot of talent right now, individual talent right now in the game, which is cool.
Yeah.
Number 10, right?
Yep, 10.
Man, we could be getting into pitchers here pretty soon.
I know. I was boycotting them as long as I could.
I know. I don't like boycotting the pitchers. I mean, that's not.
I know you're a pitcher. I know.
But I get it though. I'm actually gonna go with Carlos Correa here at number 10.
Okay. I hope not, but okay.
Yeah, I hate Carlos Correa. I really don't like him at all. But I don't like many of Astros or former Astros. So, but I think he's going to actually fit really well with the Twins. Unfortunately, he's going to fit really well with the Twins. He's got it all, everything you want. Incredible defender. I think he's underrated defensively at times even. Giant cannon arm, one of the best arms in baseball, and consistently gets it done at the plate. So I think he's, a top 2 or 3 shortstop, probably might be number 1. A couple of guys that have arguments with him, but total package, can't really go wrong with him there in the top 10. So.
Yeah, and they got him on a short deal. A lot of people were thinking he was going to be asking for a longer term deal. And I think that's what kind of drew a lot of people out of contention for him, because they're like, what does he really want here? But
right. I think the idea is the Twins are in a weird spot, in my opinion. They could be I wouldn't be surprised if last year seems like kind of an aberration and they figure it out. Or, if they stink again, then he can just play for 1 year, put up crazy numbers and make even more money. Because I think he has the option if he wants to come back one more year. I think that's how the contract was structured. So I don't know. And they gave him a ton of money for 1 year. So I think he'll be fine.
I was hoping to see him come home to AJ Hinch, but didn't happen. So we got Javi
Baez instead.
We'll take the extra strikeouts. We'll take
Javi's not going to be on this list for me. I'm just letting both of you know.
No, he's not on my list either.
Unfortunately, he's just not. That's just not happening.
Yeah, I think I made a list all the way to 50. I didn't even put him in my top 50. So
he's not.
Okay.
He's not terrible. He's not. Again,
he's probably around 75 though. If I went a little bit further,
probably in the top 100.
All right. Well, number 11. Then I will go with the first pitcher, Garrett Cole.
Okay.
Bite me. I guess.
I hate Garrett Cole too, but okay.
Did you have him coming up?
Yeah. I mean, he's like number 11 or something for me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, just last year, still pitched 30 games. just consistently gives his team innings. He's low on the WHIP. He's low on the ERA. Strikeouts were at almost 250 last year. That's pretty awesome. And I think he's even broken the 325 mark before on strikeouts. So the guy's got stuff. And, you can't go a whole top 30 list without pitchers. At some point, they've got to break through. There's probably going to be a couple. I think Garrett Cole, what he's going to do for the Yankees, I think he's still the Yankees' best player, even if they have to see him every 5 games. So,
yeah. I mean, I think he sucked in the playoffs, so it puts a damper on Cole for me a little bit.
Justin Verlander did for a while,
but
too.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's a game. It's one game. He's dominant for the most part. I think he's kind of a prick, but whatever. That's fine. It doesn't really matter.
I was gonna say we're not ranking people on their prick.
Yeah, I mean, if we're ranking people based off of likability, then it would change. But
yeah.
All right, so I'll go
Blake's at 12.
Yep.
Yeah, I got 12. I don't know. This is a tough one. I feel like I gotta go I'm going between 2 White Sox guys, and I really think Luis Roberts just gonna have a phenomenal year. Every time I watch that guy, I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's built, he's got speed, he can play, and he hits the crap out of the ball. I think his home runs are just going to go up. He didn't have
he's due for a breakout year.
Yeah, he hits for average, definitely over 300. So there's no problem there that he's going to I think he's going to lead that team. Him, Anderson, and Abreu are just going to, and then you got Elroy as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think he only played 68 games last year, and he hit 340. So, and that was his problem. In his rookie year, he played 56 games, obviously shortened season, and he only hit 240. But the power is going to be there. The strikeouts weren't too crazy last year. He can run, although with the injury history, I don't know how much they're going to have him run. Yeah, I mean, he's the beast if he stays healthy. I think if he stays healthy, he can be top 5 MVP vote easily. He just is yet to stay fully healthy, so we'll see. I'll go with Corbin Burns here. He's the pitcher out there. He led the MLB in ERA last year, had 234 strikeouts and 167 innings, which is crazy. So he's arguably the best pitcher in the NL. It's a pretty nasty combination with that cutter and curveball. Upper 90s cutters are not really easy to hit. So I think he'll be up there again as an upper echelon guy. My only concern with him is it was obviously a breakout season. So it's like, okay, let's see if we can do it year over year. But the stuff's there. Always really has been with him. And he just kind of refined that cutter last year to make it pretty much unhittable. So yeah, I'll put Burns here.
Yeah, those Brewer pitchers are really kind of coming along, developing. I mean, you talk about Woodruff in that conversation too, and it's just you've just seen their improvement steadily over the last several years. So
they might have the best staff in the NL.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with another guy that is on a new team, and he's got big shoes to fill, and that would be Matt Olson, formerly of the A's, now with the Braves, having to replace Freddie Freeman. But he also kind of took off last year, or in the last 2 years. I think he's kind of shown where he can hang right around the 35 to 40 home run mark. And I think it's to be expected that he breaks 100 RBIs as well. It's his batting average that hangs a little bit lower. He's kind of right there pops out quite a bit. So I think he's going to probably sit right in that 265 to 280 range. But a good fielder too at the first base corner. So I just wasn't ready to take another pitcher here after 2 already. So I'm going to put Matt Olson there.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to throw another pitcher out there.
Well, then we're all 3 of us finally have our pitchers in.
I think we see Max Scherzer being still a stud, even though he's getting up there. But the guy went 15-4 and a sub-3 ERA, and that's just obviously he can do it. So even though the skeptics always thought his weird motion was going to hurt him, he does it year after year.
I think, I think he's still got another year or two left where as long as he doesn't blow like something crazy hurt, he still has the stuff. So,
I think this is his last premier year. I think he's going to start.
Until proven otherwise, I'm done saying anybody's washed up. Tom Brady has proven too many people wrong.
Not everybody's Tom Brady.
No, nobody's Tom Brady.
But I guess if anyone's closer to a robot, it might be Scherzer because he has the 2 colored eyes. You're like, you never know with that guy.
It's true. It's probably not human. All right. What number is this?
16.
16. Yep.
I will go with Ronald Acuna here. I'd probably have him higher if he weren't going to miss part of the season at the beginning of the year because he's coming off of surgery. Just a monster when he's healthy. He looked decent in some limited spring action, but he's going to miss just a little bit here as he's still recovering from an ACL. But I expect him to be back at upper echelon outfielder and kind of carry that Braves team now that Freeman's gone. So very easily could be a top 10, maybe even top 5 guy if he puts it all together. But this year I'm going to put him a little bit lower just because of the injury. So.
17. Yes. I'm going to go with a young star. He had a pretty good year. I like what I saw last year. Just about 300, right about 300. 29 home runs, 102 RBIs. He's 24 years old. Son of a former player. That is Bo Bichette for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Every year since he's been here, he's hitting over 300. He's got a career batting average of 302. So, it's pretty impressive that he kind of was able to make contact with the ball and get on base right from the get-go. 24 years old, so I still think there's more room for improvement with him, and think that ball's going to travel a little bit further this year. So I don't think it's to be unexpected that he breaks the 30 home run mark.
Yeah, big power from the shortstop position, big arm, gotten better defensively. I think he deserves. He's a star, budding star. I wouldn't, he's not upper echelon yet, but he's right there at that next year. So.
All right, are we on 18?
Yes, sir.
Yep. All right, another guy that kills the Tigers all the time. He leads the team. Tim Anderson, that guy's plays a great shortstop. Steal bases. He's just smart. Every time I watch him, he's always doing something that you wouldn't think of. He can place the ball. He hits behind runners. He's always thinking way ahead of everybody else. His baseball IQ is just through the roof. So, he hits really well for average. He can steal bases. Doesn't have a ton of power, but it's going up and up. I feel like I never thought he'd be a power guy, and I think he's surprising people. So he's.
The good news is he can't be a Tiger killer the first 2 games. So we'll take that and run with it.
Right. Yeah, I think he can. I think he'll contend for a batting title still. I think he'll hit above 300 if fully healthy. And yeah, he has pop from that leadoff spot. It's 20 home runs, 25 home runs wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, he's fun to watch. He's probably my favorite player. So he's really fun to watch. I'm gonna go with Aaron Judge here. 2021, Judge hit 287, 39 homers. His WAR was 6. He played 148 games, which is the most he's played since 2017. Injuries have been his biggest concern, honestly, that have held him back. I don't love him in the outfield, but who cares? He plays right field at Yankee Stadium. Most of the fly balls over there go into the fence, over the fence anyway. He's just a monster. There are times when you can't pitch to that guy at all. And coupled with Stanton in that lineup, it's just a tough lineup to get through. Probably the most imposing hitter in the major league still because of his size. Just a beast. Could easily be in the discussion for top 10 if he puts 50 home runs are not out of the question for that guy any given year. So I think he deserves to be to be in the top 20 here. So,
Have you seen Aaron Judge in person?
yes, it's the biggest thing I've ever seen. He walked out of the, we went to the Tigers Yankees spring training game when I was in college and in Lakeland, and like my coach knew one of the guys in the Tigers like organization, so we got to go down and like into the locker room and stuff. It was kind of cool. And then like Judge and Stanton walked out together like right behind home plate as we were kind of walking, and it was just like, and I was like, that's not normal baseball players. Like, what is that? Like, no, like those would be big football players. Like, this is stupid. So biggest dudes I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. I'm gonna go with former Tiger legend here at 20. It's Robbie Ray.
Robbie Ray. All
There
right.
you go.
The Seattle Mariners.
Yep.
New team after spending the last 2 years with the Blue Jays. And I think he was with the Diamondbacks for 6 years and with the Tigers for 1 year. So he's 30 years old now, but I think he's one of those guys that's just gotten really good as he's kind of aged along. 32 games last year, 2.84 ERA, just at the 1 mark for WHIP. And he racked up 250 strikeouts. So those are good numbers, and I think he's going to have to be the workhorse too on this Mariners rotation. So I'm going to go with him here, 20.
Yeah, he's nasty. He's good.
I miss him.
Definitely. Like a 21. All right. Going with Walker Buehler.
Okay.
That guy's stuff is just nasty. He's got a sub 3 ERA again. He had 16 wins, 16-4. The guy does really well in that rotation, and I think he's just going to be a star and keep on being a star as long as he stays healthy. So,
Yeah,
solid pitcher all the way around.
I love Buehler. I think he's like that next like DeGrom level guy in my opinion. Once he kind of just refines it a little bit more. But I mean, he's already right there. I mean, easily could be a Cy Young candidate and with his stuff any given year. So that team is just loaded. It's crazy. 22.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Go with Rafael Devers at 22. Last year, started off a little bit slower for him, but the last 3 years he's hit 289 and averaged 27 home runs and close to 100 RBIs. The strikeout numbers have fluctuated a little bit, but they were down 2 years ago. They were back up a little bit last year, but in the playoffs he was just a monster. You just couldn't get him out for a period of time. So I think he's just a budding star at third base. He drove in about 115 runs last year, hit almost 40 home runs. So if he stays healthy, I really think he can be. Boston traded away Yohan Moncada to the White Sox, and it was like, oh shoot, like they knew they had this guy. That's why they did it. They weren't worried about third base down the road. So I think he's just going to be a stud this year, and I think he's going to be one of the best third basemen in baseball.
He was my next one. I had his stats pulled up and everything, so I had to quick back out. So I'll go with my next guy here. I'm going to go with Kyle Tucker for the Astros.
Okay, yeah.
And that's due to the fact that he's also a guy that just about hit 300 last year, hit the 30 home run mark, and came 8 RBIs short of 100. So that, to me, those are like the ideal numbers. You get a guy that hits 300, 30 home runs or more, and 100 plus RBIs. Like, I love to see that out of a player in my life. So, he's quick too. Great outfielder. I think he's got all the tools, and obviously still quite young. He's 25, so he's got a good future ahead of him.
Yeah.
All right, I got 24. Talk about a guy that has 100 RBIs, 34 runs last year. Former Tiger Nick Castellanos, definitely he tears it up. He's maybe not a huge, threat in the outfield, but he definitely is a pure hitter. He can hit with the best of them. So hit over 300, and really he makes a big impact wherever he is. Doesn't matter. So
He hits really well when controversial things are happening.
I was going to say, I think of Tom, his legacy is tarnished because Tom Brenneman just comes to my mind now whenever I.
Controversial things are said in the background, and Castellanos hits a home run.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. I'm going to go with Manny Machado here. Obviously signed this massive contract with Padres, and I think sometimes he gets overshadowed by the flair of Tatis, but now Tatis likes to drive motorcycles recklessly, so he won't be around for a while. I mean, he's been worth the investment. OPS plus of 126 since with solid fielding since they signed him. I mean, he's been pretty much as advertised. Let's see what he hit last year. Last year he hit 278. Year before he hit 303. He's averaged the last 3 years hitting about 290. He's going to drive in close to 100 RBIs. Usually hit around 30 home runs. That's pretty much elite from the third base standpoint, and he can play third base or shortstop. So they've got some flexibility there now that Tatis is injured. So doesn't strike out a ton. I mean, usually right around the 100 strikeout mark. Just a weapon, just a beast in the middle of the order. Another guy I just don't like necessarily the way he plays the game because I think he plays it lazily at times. But you know what? If you're that good, you can kind of do some things that maybe aren't by the book. So I think he deserves being top 30 for sure.
26. I'm going to go with Shane Bieber. And I might regret that later. He hasn't had a fully healthy season since 2019. Well, technically, I guess you could say 2020 was healthy because it was a shortened season. But 2021, he only pitched in 16 games. But still, every time he pitches, he's maintaining an ERA under 3.3. So 250 is a benchmark for him to get to for strikeouts too. He's got nasty stuff. I just know every time Tigers have to face him a couple times a year, then I just get a little bit sad inside. So
yeah, it's usually an L for whoever faces him that day. So
yes.
All right, 27. 27. I got a guy that I feel like doesn't get a lot of publicity. I feel like he's getting there now, but I feel like Paul Goldschmidt definitely. He hits for average, gets the RBIs, gets the home runs. He's getting paid. He's definitely a huge guy to have on your team. I'd love to have him as a first baseman on any team.
Mm-hmm. I think I would agree that he's underrated. I don't know why. Everybody on the Cardinals is underrated, even if they're good, because everybody, I don't know, like they just aren't. Nobody stands out on that team right now, but he's been putting up numbers consistently for the past few years. So I think he could, I mean, he's got an argument for top 15, really, if you think about it. So I love Goldschmidt.
All right, Ben, your last one. Who are you thinking here?
Just 28.
Yes, sir.
I take Marcus Semien here.
Okay.
Much better second baseman than shortstop. I thought that when he first came up with the White Sox, and has started and recently, the last few years, has started to hit the living crap out of the ball. 45 homers last year, 33 2 years ago. He's been averaging 28 home runs the last 3 years. Got the pop from that second base position that is just not heard of. 45 home runs from a second baseman is absurd. The defense, has always been his biggest problem from the shortstop position, but it stabilized when he's playing second base. The strikeout numbers, he's probably going to strike out a little bit more than you'd like from a second baseman, but guess what? If you hit 45 home runs, it really doesn't matter. And the average is 250 to 260, but I think the talent is there to where, he finally started figuring it out last year. So I think he's going to continue to get better. So.
Oh, man. I think I have to go with the other Brewers pitcher. I'm going to go with Brandon Woodruff. Another guy that just keeps taking improvements every single year. He doesn't get the run support whenever he goes out there and pitches. Somehow he only managed to have 9 Ws in a 30 start season and having a 2.5 ERA. So, kind of surprising there. He broke over the 200 strikeout mark, and his whip was 0.96. Just continues to get better every single year, and he is 29 years old. So it took him a little while to get out of the little leagues, but he's here now, right there with Corbin Burns, and that's the best 1-2 punch starting rotation in baseball.
Yep.
All right, I get to finish it out here.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, to go off of Semyon, I think you got to put Corey Seager up there. I think those two are going to be exciting to watch, the way they hit the ball and can play the middle infield. It's going to be exciting to watch them driving runs and hit home runs. And it's just, I'm actually going to be down in Texas here end of the month, watch those two play. It's going to be a lot of fun to see all that money that they put into the team and see it come to fruition here.
Yeah.
I heard real estate's really good down in Texas.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll have to grab onto that too.
Who are some big names that you guys kind of felt like should have been really close on this list, but didn't quite make the cut? Some honorable mentions, if you will.
Arenado, Xander Bogaerts.
I have Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah, Alcantara from last year. Yeah. Altuve.
Cedric Mullins.
Yeah, Mullins had a great year last year. I don't think he necessarily deserves to be top 30, but he's up there. Yordan Alvarez.
Fernando Tatis, if he wasn't out the next 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Tatis. Tatis would have been up there.
DeGrom would have been up there.
Yep,
DeGrom would have been up there, definitely. There's an argument for guys like, Max Fried even, or Kevin Gausman, if you're looking at pitchers. Ozzie Albies.
Albies was another one. Yeah, I thought about Albies at 29 when I had that pick. I was going back and forth.
Yeah. Anthony Rendon, even though he hurt himself last year pretty badly. I mean, 2 years ago, he led the league in RBIs, so he probably deserves consideration. So a lot of good players. Again, a lot of really, really good players right now. Maybe it's just because, I don't know, maybe I feel like the talent in baseball has never been better. And it's just kind of a shame that some people consider it dying, because it doesn't need to be that way if it's marketed properly. So that's a discussion for another day, though.
Well, we had the discussion another day.
Yeah.
It was a marketing issue is really a big concern because baseball's got as many superstars as it's probably ever had. There's a lot of people that could be the face of baseball, and here it is taking a hit, whether it's just on arguments trying to get deals done or just the way it's marketed and the rules changing all the time. I think everyone in this day and age wants things fast, and just baseball has never been that way. And I don't think it needs to change. I think it's maybe it makes an acquired taste for certain people, but the game of baseball has been sacred to its purest form back in the day, and I don't think there's a whole lot of need for change, just the way it's marketed. So, yeah.